I am Indiana Smith, and welcome to Encased, a sci-fi post-apocalyptic RPG, Episode 2. Now that I have an official mission, it is time for me to head out. With my driver Clara, we head to C12-Nashville Facility. Now then, let's get this adventure started. By 1973, the northern and eastern parts of the dome were covered by a developing network of roads along with related infrastructure, cafes, hotels, and of course, gas stations. Today there are a little more than a dozen gas stations, but the Kronos management expects to bring their number to 50 by 1975. The dome as your new home leaflet.
The highway leading to C12-Nashville is blocked by an anomalous storm, and you're forced to detour over a mountain pass. Soon, the radiator boils over, and you have to stop. Clara lifts up the hood and thoroughly examines the steaming radiator.
The engine's boiling, so we'll have to wait. You do know what happens when a car boils, right?
The Blue shuts her mouth abruptly and stares anxiously at the dark funnel cloud dancing on the horizon. Now that you're on higher ground, it's clear that the storm has overtaken a fairly large section of road. It will be difficult to pass.
Is there anything I should be doing?
The Blue looks at the engine again.
We wait. As soon as it cools down, we'll go. This storm worries me more, but it's not an insurmountable problem. I heard there are some relics at the local gas station that protect against anomalies. You could even accidentally step on one out here, they say. Mysterious are the ways of the Lord.
Can you tell me more about these relics?
Your companion perks up a bit. She seems to be interested in this subject.
This place is registered as a resource anomaly zone. Do you know what that is? It's when the relics mined there have been studied and deemed useful. Not much is known about these relics. They dampen anomaly fields, even very strong ones. They're also found in other parts of the dome. They're known as bronze apples or aluminum apples. I don't remember, but something like that.
What do you know about this anomaly storm and others like it?
The Blue looks at the storm once more.
There have been more and more of these lately, and they're getting stronger. I personally think it's divine judgment for how we've squandered the riches under the dome.
She sighs and squirms.
I knew people who got caught in one of those storms. They blow up so fast, there's no chance to get away. God rest their souls.
The Blue makes the sign of the cross.
I'm going to see what's interesting. I'm going to see what's so interesting about this gas station.
Morgan thinks for a moment.
It's a combination cafe gas station called Roadside Picnic. Never been there myself, but there's something off about it. There are several anomalies around there and weird relics. Supposedly, machines and structures decay much faster than they should in that area. But maybe that's just a story.
I'm going to check out this gas station. See if I can dig up this mystery. No walking. Rust-eaten radioactive hazard sign.
Some kind of stimulator? Or maybe some forefather stuff? Why do you even care, honey?
Who the hell goes there? Come on in, since you're already here.
A weird, scruffy old man with a matted beard is sitting in front of the checkout terminal. The badge on his blue jumpsuit is long since bleached away. The name Aaron Melville is written there in black marker. With a groan, he picks up a magnifying glass and, peering through it, begins poking at the keyboard with one knobby finger. The computer plays a short tune. "Checkmate," the system declares. The old man angrily sets the magnifying glass aside.
A Grandmaster? You're a piece of junk, not a Grandmaster. And a cheater to boot.
He raises his head to squint in your direction.
Eh? What do you want? I don't advise eating here, and there's nothing to buy. And either way, we're closed.
The shopkeeper rises from his seat, and you notice he's sporting a peg where his left leg should be.
Truck broken down.
The old man throws up his hands with a scowl.
Then go fix it.
You know any way to protect the truck from anomalies?
Melville reluctantly points a crooked finger at the front door.
Go out there and walk over to the gas station. Go down to the basement. There's an anomaly, a tree. It's glowing. And there are some golden thingies hanging off it. We make special devices from that fruit called anomaly protectors. Should one be laying around on the floor, go grab it, then put it in the truck and bug off to... Where was it you was going to? That's where you bug off to.
The blue starts slapping the pockets on his overalls. After a little digging, he pulls out a little key on a shoelace.
Only take the device, you hear? It's company property. I should be charging you myself, as a matter of fact.
Thanks for the key.
Dead-end job. Glad to meet you.
A man in a dirty blues jumpsuit is sitting on a bench by a gas station. He's holding a cotton pad and balancing a piece of rock in his knee. The blue moistens the cotton pad with alcohol and runs it over the stone. Then he squeezes the essence into a metal jar. The jar emits a golden light. The cotton pad freezes mid-wipe. The blue looks up. You read the badge, Travis Brightman, Explosive Ordnance Disposal. Are you going inside the gas station? I wouldn't recommend it. The blue squeezes the pad and sets it aside. You can see he's a little nervous. What's wrong with the gas station? Brightman shivers as suddenly chilled. It's like this. There are all kinds of anomalies, and some of them are just horrible. You get me? There are a lot of places, and awful things happen to anyone who stumbles across them. The gas station itself isn't bad, but the basement. Travis looks thoughtfully into the void. There's something there. something like a tree, and it's running out of room. Soon it'll be too big for the space, mark my words. Sometimes it sheds these smaller relics. They're nothing special, but they do protect you from all kinds of anomalies, which is useful. I found one myself, but the effect has already worn off, and I'm not going back for another. He gestures you to lean in. There's someone else in the basement, a very skeezy someone. Not alive, but also not dead. In one of those words, a nasty thing. I don't recommend meeting it. What are you doing? Brightman scans you closely. That's not a rhetorical question, is it? I'm sitting outside a weird gas station with a basement straight out of a Weird Tales. Mining relic dust. Is it illegal? He crosses his arms. Technically, no, but Kronos encourages the black market for relics every way they can. So, is there anything interesting around here? The place is full of interesting stuff. It's an anomalous zone, after all. Machinery doesn't last long in this area, so I walked here. The Whites say it's a typical retrograde anomaly, and even know where the source is. The Blue turns to look meaningfully at the gas station behind him. It's all from the gas station. There's a huge second-class fractal relic in the basement, and sometimes small golden balls fall off of it. I would take a couple of for myself, but, well, there's something weird going on in here. I advise you to stay away. Travis falls apprehensively quiet. He looks at his Ceres. Oh yeah, there's a path behind the diner that leads to the swamp. That's where you find micro looks. I've marked the place as worthless, though it's beautiful, of course. Why is it worthless? A man working in the swamp told me wherever you find micro lux, you find the Mobius. Wherever there's Mobius are, you better not go. I'm glad the passage to the swamp has been blocked by those rocks. Feels safer. Brightman readily explains. Alright, what exactly is going on in that basement? Brightman waves you off. Alright, as long as you leave me out of it. 2 words. Something living. There's something alive, and there it is, barely resembles a human being. There's enough for me to keep my distance. Is there anything else we can talk about? Blue nods. Okay, ask.
Have a good one.
Never mind. Nothing here. Anything to trade. My personal box, huh? Chemical grenade. So I can make two things. Sterile bandage and a chemical grenade. Let's go ahead and craft one of those up and one of those up. Princess. That's what I was trying to avoid. Thank you very much. What is a house, if not a fortress? This good old concept came to its logical conclusion in the 60s when they first began to construct bomb shelters under private residence en masse. I never believed that nuclear war was inevitable, but people need to be safe, right? With the dome's discovery, Nuclear war is yesterday's news. Aliens are the new hot topic. The shelters being built now are precautions against the second coming of the forefathers. An hour with Mike Wolf radio broadcast. Does that thing actually get healed? Graves, buried pits, and some rock debris can be excavated. Things of value can often be found in dug-up caches. Piles of stone can be dug up with hands. Other types of excavation requires a shovel, which gradually deteriorates with use. Remember that digging takes time. Consider this when digging in radioactive or anomalous areas. Ooh, make 5 of these. Pistol bullets or cartridges? Is that saying I need 60 skill, or I can make 60 using 1 ore in my cousin smithing? So I can also make rifle bullets. Craft some. Let's craft a couple of these. Okay. But what a knot. Okay. So the rifle. Melee weapon. Anyway.
The cafe doesn't bother you? You're definitely on the right path.
As you exit the shed and you stumble across a scene from a movie, a dented Jupiter moon parked by the roadside shop with 4 strangely dressed tramps idling about. The car is in awful shape despite being brand new. Jupiter's first got chrome-plated fenders, moldings in February 1976, which means it can't be older than 6 months. The driver's door lock was at some point jacked open with something sharp, a knife or a screwdriver. The car is obviously stolen. The people standing around the car are so filthy you barely recognize their Cronus uniforms under the grime. Name tags have been removed, of course, but the ruffians' tattoos make it clear you're facing oranges. You quietly call out, and the bandits turn to you. One of them, must be the leader, takes a step in your direction, eyeing your clothes. Well, well, well. Who's this in the nice, clean uniform? He grins nastily. So here's the deal, guest. You and that old codger behind the counter, you're both gonna chip in for our gas. And maybe I won't stress test your skull today. Let me get 20 minutes and clinch a deal with you guys. Thug nods indulgently. Okie dokie, go. Cinch the deal. But no monkey business.
I'm coming out there.
Melville agitatedly examines the blue car through the dusty glass.
Hey, what? How did they... They already barged in? Well, that's no good.
Is there any way we can defend against them?
The old man sighs, his cheek propped solemnly on his fist.
What do you think? If we had a good shooter, that would be worth talking about.
Melville's eyes suddenly flicker with excitement.
That turret, damn it! Look, here's the key. See that trap door behind me? Come on, get down there. If you manage to get the power unit working, we'll teach those suckers what's what. Your mothers are remarkable women. But you turned out to be a bunch of failures.
Actually, you know what? Before I do that, let me see about inventory. Thin pipe behind the vent grid is producing strange sounds. Knocking on the pipe, something inside the pipe responds with a threatening squeeze. You knock again, the strange sound is amplified, and now you hear scratching and gnashing as well. Pipe is vibrating like a bunch of little rubber balls is bouncing around inside. When you knock on it a third time, something warm and fuzzy slinks from the pipe and immediately vanishes into the darkness. The darkness around you is now filled with tiny reddish lights. Looks like you disturb a nest of rats.
Get out.
Melville agitatedly examines the blue car through the dusty glass.
They what? How did they... They already barged in? Well, that's no good.
The turrets are repaired, by the way.
The old man squints and gives you a silly smile.
Huh. So it's like that. Well, thank you. Thank you. I didn't think you'd be any good. I'm gonna rip you a new one.
Why do you keep bothering me?
Gasoline? Dough? Get the lead out, pal. Tick-tock. Time's a wasting. The bandit leader spits lazily. I've got a better idea. Orange gurgles derisively. Oh, come on. Tell us better. We've thought it through and, now have some alternative offers. Bandit frowns. Stop fucking with my brain with your filthy talk. You've got ideas? You've got offers? Come on, tell me these offers. I got a better idea. How about we stress test some skulls myself? Margaret responds with a fake, self-satisfied smirk. You know, I appreciate your attitude. Wanna dance? Okay then, put your ballet slippers on.
You scum.
You're dead meat. I'll definitely get promoted when this is over.
I'm warning you. I know Kung Fu.
Guys, take down this scum.
Someone catch us on camera.
Colleagues, help! A scientist is being murdered!
That's it. Your ass is grass.
Can't use that now.
The old man's coffee is terrible.
Uh-huh. And so is his temper.
Well, you seem like a better sort.
Make it quick.
She looks at you suspiciously as the weapon in your hands. You aren't going to use that, are you? Oh.
Scram.
Hiya.
You approach the table and catch the end of a stranger dialogue. A gray, long-haired man in a silver jacket is making weird gestures as he confidently explains something to the young girl sitting next to him. The only logical and undoubtedly correct answer is this. The dome vibrates out of sync with the universe, hence all of the anomalies. Seeing you, he raises two fingers in a peace sign. The man radiates calm and goodwill. Peace be upon you. My name is Rabindranath Krishnaswamy, and this is my sister Swallow. With her outsized pupils, Sister Swallow's eyes remind you of twin forefather anomalies. She stretches herself out on top of the table as if hoping to melt into it. Hello, my fingers are warm. Lines, waves. Rabindranath looks from her to you and giggles like a child. I'm sorry. When I feel good, I like to share with my neighbor. Ignore it, please. Look more closely at the twosome. Swallow rubs her cheeks against the table surface, absolute peace written all over her face. Rabindranath, always slightly on the crouch, and weaves an invisible pattern in the air. With his fingers, these two have taken enough drugs to knock out an entire Blackwing squadron. Having guessed what you're thinking, the silver gives you a tricksy smile. Well, consciousness doesn't widen itself. You have to help it along. It's very good for deep spiritual discussions, you know. It's okay. You can widen your consciousness as much as you want. Rabindranath laughs. Well, that's a very wise attitude to take, isn't it, Swallow? The girl nods enthusiastically. Krishnaswamy slaps himself on the forehead. What a crazy pants I am. I forgot that I brought Tootha Jones with me. Have you heard about him? Ooh, I'm red. I'll read some of my favorite quotes aloud. Join our book club if you wish. Club. He chuckles again.
I hope to see you again soon. Why should we depend on rational knowledge? Reason leads us up a blind alley over and over again. There are only two true paths to knowledge. Mystical epiphanies and my books.
Right. What has reason ever given us anyway?
As you well know, 2 + 2 = 4. The earth goes around the sun, and you should wash your hands before you eat.
That is true. And that means everything else in this book is also true.
Cyborgization of the soul with assistance from machine elves from another dimension is our only chance to reach exo-nirvana.
Wow.
These so-called mentally healthy people can't count on ascension, even with help from the forefathers' UFOs powered by the energy of the lower chakras.
I pity them.
The visible world is a hologram built by a trans-dimensional supercomputer, built by the race of quasi-demiurges to restrict humanity's potential.
I've always suspected something like this.
The sacred energy virus of the forefathers recombines the human genome, implanting the Omega chromosome to transform people into techno-spiritual beings.
Cool.
The difference between the mental abilities of a forefather and a human is the same as between a human and a dead hedgehog.
Poor hedgehog.
Pseudocrystalline demonoids transmit the perverse idea of biophilia into the human subconscious. Hence, our obsession with material values.
It all fits together.
The soul is nothing more than an information field, a psychokinetic mechanism that presents as a torus vibrating at superlight frequency.
Holy cow.
Karmic immanence results from the deep-rooted Zionism of Earth elites.
I understand so much now.
With his gang problem solved, Melville is visibly more hospitable.
I'm sorry for bitching at you, sweetheart. My mood hasn't been great this last couple of weeks. Would you like some coffee? Because I could,
The old man takes off his plastic leg and wraps it on the counter.
Hey, anybody want some coffee? Coffee, come on.
How is it here?
You can't tell if Aaron is coughing or laughing.
Well, it's seething with life. People come and go. White wingers hanging around the swamp. One such fella came along today, walking around poking things with that scanner of his. Doesn't shake hands with people. What kind of guy is that?
The old man leans close and continues in a confidential tone.
I used to have a gizmo of sorts. It warmed stuff up better than any heater. And when they saw it, their eyes almost bugged out of their heads. They took it away from me. It's dangerous, they said. What else? Well, sometimes bandits show up. Get pounded on the head occasionally. Not as often as I'd like, but there it is.
The old man gives you a smile of satisfaction.
Someone mentioned something's wrong with the local cuisine.
The blue grunts like a goose.
Well, I cook for myself here. It's, you know, an acquired taste.
So Melville, how's life?
The old man sighs in sadness.
What life? I'm an old man. Life? My ass.
Yeah, while I was in that basement, some strange creature attacked me. Well, after I attacked it. Anyway, I killed it.
The old man scrubs his bald spot.
That'd be my stand-in, I think. And here I reckoned he'd gone and quit on me. Could smell the stench from the cellar. Thought a rat croaked down there.
Listening to your story, he shakes his head in amazement.
You say it didn't even look like a person? Oh, I had a bad feeling about this place from the start. Not good at all, I'm telling you. Hey, sweetheart! Wait a minute, hold up.
The blue claps you on the arm. He looks a bit confused.
I was just, I was thinking, I wanted to thank you. Maybe we could go on a picnic. You like picnics, don't you?
Sure. I haven't had a picnic in a while, and I doubt I'm gonna get any down here. I'll take you up on that offer.
Aaron smiles. His expression is both silly and sincere.
Look, there's a cliff nearby. Lovely place. I got a cook pot already there. A comfy piece of tarpaulin, too. And the logs are alive. Even got little bottles stashed away.
Melville grunts, reaches under the counter and pulls out a bulky bag smelling of onions. The old man lays out the bag's contents on the counter. Canned pork, onions, eggs, and potatoes. He looks quite proud of his stash.
What's a picnic without snacks? Here, I'm gonna teach you my family recipe for pulled pork. First, you have to boil the eggs, and then...
Gesturing excitedly, the old man reveals the secrets of Melville family cuisine.
I cook it myself, but I'm sure you can do better. See the stove behind me? There you go. Use it. Go ahead and cook.
The Blue rakes the food back into the bag and gives it to you.
What? I can cook rat eye and rat tail? Well then. I can make one of these. Let's make it.
Aaron stares into his screen and mutters to himself.
Where am I gonna get all them pawns? Filthy dog.
He notices you.
Ah, it's you. Well, come on, speak up. What do you want?
I made some of that pulled pork from your original recipe.
Squinting skeptically, Aaron takes a piece of pork and tries it.
Well, what do you know? That came out pretty good.
He lowers his voice.
There's that guy with the rock, the white by the swamp, and those two hippies. Ask them if they want to sit with us, too. If you got anybody else in mind, call them, too. More people, more fun.
Alright. Let's see about inviting them over.
Oh, hello there.
The hippie cat and girl catches your eye and shoots you a playful smile. Will you sit with us? Her fingers move constantly as if weaving invisible threads. Her necklace is made of octahedral beads. They gleam with a soft, opalescent light. Swallow's filmy eyes wander over your face as she waits for your question. Would you like to go to the picnic? Melvin is putting together. Robbie, are we going? The girl tugs on the Silver's sleeve. He nods calmly. And while I'm talking to you, why are you called Swallow? The girl's about to answer, but Rabindranath interrupts. It's her totem animal. She has a tattoo as well. Swallow, show us your tattoo. Swallow nods willingly and lifts her shirt, as if it were nothing unusual. Of course, she doesn't wear a bra. A crooked tattoo of a bird is perched above her left nipple. The girl lowers her shirt. How do you like it? Yeah, I liked it. She's genuinely delighted. I'm glad you... Thank you. Are you afraid of the dome? Swallow shakes her head violently. Oh, no, not at all. The dome is nature, and I have a deep spiritual bond with nature. It won't harm me. If you love the world, it kinda loves you back. I admire your positive worldview. The girl looks at you with sympathy. It's cool that you dig it. That's a nice necklace you got. She leans toward you slightly so you can take a closer look at her necklace. Nice, isn't it? I made it from some forefather stuff. I bought them from a local guy, the one that likes to sit outside the gas station.
Bye-bye.
Interesting. Well, they're both gone. says something about a person in a rock. It's really crazy stuff going on over there.
Salutations.
His protective suit sparkles with myriad of flickering pinpoints. It's as if the particles are stuck to the purple gloves and white skull mask, glittering like a snowdrift in a sunny day. On the researcher's chest is a metal badge that says, Theodore McReady. Extend your hand, the scientist takes a step back. I wouldn't do that if I were you. The properties of this substance haven't been studied thoroughly, and your suit's defense is insufficient. I appreciate your readiness to give your life for science, but it's simply not worth it. Alright. Yeah, the old man is making a picnic. Did you want to go? McReady considers it. Yeah, why not? I'll be there. And speaking of science, what are you doing here near the swamp? Theodore is agitated. I'm from Magellan Station. 2 weeks ago, management sent me to conduct a field study of my hypothesis, which is that the microlux is an indicator of the presence of Mobiuses. They either generate microxes, or the two are in symbiosis. He raises his hand and watches the bubbles sparkling in the air. And now, I'm here to confirm or refute this hypothesis. I see the behavior of the microlux particles has changed. Unfortunately, I can't establish if this is due to the presence of Mobius or something else. I'd like to learn more about this Mobius you mentioned. The scientist puts the scanner aside. It's a topic for another time, but I'll warn you in advance. Like most of what we know about the dome, it's just a theory, right now. We often consider the dome as a massive environment that doesn't react to our instructions. This is a faulty, unnuanced approach. It would be more correct to say the dome is studying us, even as we study it. As we remove relics and integrate them into our lives or develop new technology from what we learned, the domes consume what we brought with us. Cars, equipment, sometimes even employees. McCready is very enthusiastic about the topic. Theodore describes a circle with one hand. People who came with the first expedition will tell you how it all began and how the dome was back then. It's a whole new ecosystem now. Have you heard of the afflicted? They're employees who've been heavily exposed to relic influence. Biologists will tell you there is a special niche in the food chain on these afflictions, on those afflicted. Look like the dome transformed the resources it gains into useful forms. The Mobius is an example of how the dome transformed our equipment. Research drones, cars, diesel generators, these things regularly vanish, but not without a trace. They come back as biomechanical guards. Actually, Mobius stands for Mobile Biomechanical Sentinel, McCready explains eagerly. They have their own hierarchy, their own behavior patterns, their own habits. They also almost always incorporate an embedded rock formation. It's a mimicry mechanism to blend in with their surroundings. You understand? We've already classified several different types, and when we understand the connection between Mobius and the Microlux, we'll know much more. Thanks for listening. Anything else you would like to know? The White is watching you closely, trying to determine if you found his story interesting. Can you tell me more about the lights? Your question is of keen interest of the researcher. It's a good thing you ask. We began to study this phenomenon at Magellan a couple years ago, so I've got something to tell about. He wiggles his fingers, and the lights dance. We call these particles microlux. They're small gas bubbles in a liquid shell, non-toxic, slightly lighter than air, considered non-hazardous. The glow they emit is variable in intensity and independent of external sources. McCready raises his palm to his face in a scooping motion. The Moclux hovers around surrounds it, forming a radiant ball. Behind the mask, the scientist's eyes twinkle with delight. Do you support the committee's actions? McCready snorts in the helmet intercom. Is this a trick question? I mean, where were all these critics when an expedition was sent to the dome and the discoveries were made? He exhales angrily. Is all Cronus authorities thieves and bureaucrats? I don't really give a hoot, since they let us do business down here. Let the critics hide behind empty words. All they're doing is making noise on TV and wrinkling snarky think pieces for the papers. All right. What do you know about the C12-Nashville site? Theodore taps the chin on his mask, as if trying to remember something. With a gesture, particles start up to form a nimbus around his head, then quickly subside. You say they aren't responding? Nashville. Oh, of course. I know. Listen, you're damn lucky. Nashville's a treasure trove. It's a huge excavation topped by a 3-level complex. A spectacular place. I'll want to hear what you think when you get back, provided you survive, of course. It was a joke. He adds, embarrassed by the memory. Nothing will happen to you, or us, unless it's the end of the world and missiles crash down on us. That's a joke too.
See ya!
Glad to meet you.
The blue glazes at you with eyes huge with horror. No fucking way. Did you just off them? Just like that? Damn, that's savage. I don't know about you, but to me that was pure savagery. And how would you have resolved the conflict with the bandits? Travis' expression darkens. You have no idea how many bandits there are out here. Today you killed this bunch. Tomorrow, their friends come howling for revenge. Still, Cronus's clean slate program is a big mistake. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Okay, there's no point getting worked up about it now. They're dead anyway. Maybe your decision was actually the right one. I don't know. I just can't get used to the fact we're living in some kind of new Wild West out here. He calms down a little. Brickman picks up the piece of mineral in his table and gently swabs up a little of the shining dust with his pad. Any interest in joining us in that picnic? Brickman gives you a suspicious look. A picnic? Seriously? With a grumpy old fart that can't even fry an egg? Sure. Why the hell not?
I'm back again.
I wonder if there's anything up here. Oh, and I should search the Jupiter moon car. Nope, nothing up here. Oh, dude, seriously? Well, that's handy. You enter a smoky interior and try to start the engine. Nothing comes of it. There must be a secret installation somewhere in the car. But when you look under the dashboard, you see a strange, clearly improvised device with a dimly shiny relic inside. Carefully remove the relic from the machine. You carefully disconnect and pull out the device. As you unscrew it, the relic changes shape, as if pulling the metal roots inside itself. Its color and texture also change from dull and gray to shiny and golden. Interesting. Okay.
Clara briefly looks up from poking around the engine.
So, how's the situation? Sure you don't want some nuts? Water, maybe. I have some here.
Found a relic that protects us against the effects of the anomaly.
A vague smile appears on the Blue's face.
Really? That's good news. We could have been stuck in here for a long time. Radio's still not working.
Here you go.
You open the hood. Clara sets up the device between the cylinder block and the fuel pump. Nothing happens at first, but then the small sphere clicks and a network of thin cracks appear on the surface, from which thousands of flat, pink roots emerge. They spread all over the engine and darken before your very eyes, assuming a metallic texture and shine. You exchange glances with Clara. The Blue crosses herself silently. She gently touches the relic and forcefully slams the hood. Sitting behind the wheel, Clara nods to you, inviting you to get into the cabin.
Done. Let's go. See whether this gizmo really helps against the storm.
Before we go, there's a weird old man from the gas station inviting us to a picnic.
After a moment's consideration, she agrees.
Sure. I could go for a snack before the trip.
I'll be waiting there for you, then. Melville leads you to the cliff, carrying a battered old hamper with some chipped plates inside. With a cunning smile, Aaron reaches beneath the fallen tree and takes out a dusty bottle of scotch. You stroke the coals of the expiring campfire, and the flames reluctantly blaze up in response. Examining the plates. The plates look awfully old, as does every single man-made thing in this place. There's a very faded geometric pattern on the chipped rims. On the back of one plate, you see the contoured Kronos logo and the engraved number 1972. Looking closely at the bottle, wood dust lends the bottle a noble look, but a closer look at the faded label puts everything in context. It's cheap hooch called Danny Dawson, the color of which reminds you of furniture polish. Finish lighting the fire and sitting down on the fallen tree. You sit down and stretch your legs toward the fire. The sun peeks lazily out from behind the clouds. Even the distant howl of the storm seems to have calmed a bit. Labyrinthine and Swallow, sitting up by the fire, continue a conversation apparently begun earlier in an undertone. And then it hit me. That woman, with all the hands, looking at me from the lotus, was the goddess Kali. But there's more. Do you remember Starstream? The redhead. Her jeans were unbuttoned all the time. She told me she chose Kali as her patroness. Maybe Starstream was giving me a sign through this dream. Swallow chatters on as she settles on the tarpaulin. Rabindranath smiles and sits nearby with his legs curled beneath him. McCready, sitting down near the campfire, takes off his helmet with some effort. He's much younger than you imagined, 25 or less, but the look of it. Try not to touch me, please. The properties of moral lux are not fully understood. Don't worry about it. I brought a disposable plate. As grave as a judge, he pulls a paper plate from his backpack. Aaron nimbly jokes with the others while setting out plates around the campfire. Hey, sweetheart, are you just gonna be sitting there or what? Get that pork out. I'm starving over here. Serving up pulled pork. You've got to give it to the Melville's family recipe. The pulled pork looks appetizing and smells delicious. Swallow pokes incredulously at a moist chunk of meat. Is this pork? I don't eat this. Meat is pain, suffering, and murder. I'd rather stick with vegetables, preferably a prana diet. Oh, whiskey. Can I have some? Rabindranath refuses as well. Only potatoes and onions for me. Yes, thank you. Resting the plate on his knees, he begins passing his hands in the air over his food. Swallow clumsily copies his movements. You're sitting on a log, gazing out on the hazy desert and scarfing down pork. With half an ear, you listen to what happened around the campfire. Melville slips his whiskey and bends close to Clara. So tell me, is it a sin to tipple? It kinda is. Yes, but it's also simple pleasure for a man. Is it a sin if it makes one happy? You're smoking, for example. Isn't that a sin? What do you Baptists think about? I'm Catholic. Know the difference between Catholics and Baptists. Baptists are Protestants, while we are... Clara tosses her curls indignantly. Melville pushes a plate towards her. Oh, come on. God is all the same anyway. Eat up. You got a long drive ahead. Or is having yourself a damn fine meal too much of a sin? Clouds of stand on the edge of the storm. Look like waves from a distance. An enormous tsunami of dust obscuring the horizon. Somewhere in the background, Clara is quoting the Bible in her philosophical tussle with Melville. The pork platter is nearly empty. The picnic is coming to an end. Melville limps to the edge of the cliff and spits over the edge. Well, that was nice. Like Little sit down. All right. That's when Beck washes the dishes. Hey, don't you all jump up at once. All right, I'll wash them myself. You put your dirty plate aside and leave.
I'm still tweaking out.
Just get some sleep. That's all you need.
That's the thing. I don't want to sleep. For chemistry, what did they add in there anyway?
Some kind of stimulator? Or maybe some forefather stuff? Why do you even care, honey?
Clara shuts down the hood.
He's a funny old man. Must be real lonely out here. So, are we going?
How'd you end up under the dome, man?
The woman distracts herself from the repairs for a moment.
It was what they call a divine providence. I wasn't content with my life. Felt like he was putting my faith to the test. I was angry with him and wished he would send me a miracle.
She stares past you into the distance, her face radiant.
One day, I suddenly realized the Lord had already shown me a real miracle. My false pride made me think the miracle should be for my eyes only, but it was for everyone to witness. Do you understand?
She smiles condescendingly, as if you were a small child.
I mean the dome. The Lord has sent us all of this to let us know that He is near, watching us.
She falls silent, but can barely contain her excitement.
What about my mission?
The blue unscrews a nozzle from under the block, examines it, then screws it back in place.
Huh? The mission? I missed that part. Sorry. Kingsley told me to take you to your group. They've lost connection with them. You don't know anything about that, do you?
Saying nothing, I get in the passenger seat. When Howard offered me a transfer to Nashville, I did not hesitate for a second. To my understanding, Nashville is what the Dome should be. This is the place where employees are able to lay hands on the most incredible wonders of ancient technology. You can call me romantic, but there is a place for pragmatism in this world, in this whole story. I have no doubt that my career will go uphill at Nashville. From the Diary of Monty Collingwood, Silverwing.
As you approach Nashville, the realization hits you that something is definitely wrong. The boom at the security checkpoint is up, and the turret indicators are glowing red. Black smoke rises over the parking lot. The automatic guns beep and direct their gun barrels at your vehicle. You and Morgan exchange concerned looks.
Step on the accelerator. Reach the entrance as fast as we can.
Clara floors it. The engine roars as the tractor truck speeds past the turrets and leaves the danger zone. The road turns left, and you're on the main road leading to the complex. There are bodies everywhere, but no visible survivors. Morgan crosses herself and whispers a prayer. Through the smoke-filled air, you see the red lights of a new batch of turrets taking aim at your vehicle.
Continue, full throttle.
Morgan, pale as death itself, obeys you and floors it. The vehicle reaches a fork near the main entrance to the base. The concrete walls are covered in bullet holes and surrounded by blood, fire, and bodies shot to smithereens. Struggling not to vomit, The blue squeezes her face into the wheel. She's not praying anymore, just whimpering quietly, "Good Lord, good Lord." Another set of turrets greet you at the central entrance with warning beeps and hostile red lights.
Turn to the left, beyond the crag, to the parking lot.
You manage to turn at the last moment. The short burst plinks into the back of the vehicle, and the gunfire stops. The turrets seem to have lost you and calmed down. The truck comes to a halt. Morgan opens the door, her hands trembling, and falls out. You also exit the vehicle. Sitting beside the truck track, you lift your head to see Nashville ablaze. Black smoke billowing overhead and intertwining with the maelstrom above the station. It whirls slowly and majestically, hundreds of tiny green lightning bolts flashing silently in the epicenter. Clara lifts her eyes to the sky, mesmerized by the whirlpool of clouds.
We need to scout the surroundings.
You nod in agreement. Morgan is right. It's time you figured out what happened here.
Now that Clara and I have made it safely to C12-Nashville Facility parking lot, it is time for me to investigate the facility. With a couple of fights under my belt, and learning that fights can break out anywhere, I now must prepare myself for what is to come. I'm going to try to start saving the leveling up till the end of the videos, and maybe give you my thoughts on the decisions I make. Time will tell if I succeed. At any rate, I hope you enjoyed this adventure. If you liked the video and like to see more, click the buttons that do the things. And if you have any comments, leave them below. And until next time, keep adventuring.